that you have to multiply before you add. So here you added, you put the plus 10, but you have multiplied it.
That's what I was trying to say.
You have
It
multiplied
have
it.
when you watch it, you're seeing an invisible. Well, you're not seeing it, but there's an invisible one in front of the negative sign,
There is an
in front of
invisible,
the
in
brackets.
front of the bracket, there's an invisible 1, that's a minus 1.
That's right.
So now you have to multiply.
Where you'll get a positive 10.
So that is that actually that is minus 1 times
Mm-hmm.
equations times a negative 10. You have to multiply before you add. So multiplication didn't haven't taken place yet. So you cannot put a plus 10 there. All right, and this is recorded, so therefore replay it again. Okay, you cannot put a plus there yet because you have multiplied it. There is an invisible minus 1 multiplying to the minus 10. Even though you don't see it like that, you see it like that, it's still a time that is going on. All right, and I heard someone said it's a plus because two negatives. Yes, I say I was coming back. You see, it's a plus 10. Here it is. You see p plus 10, which is correct.
Yeah.
And then I heard him say because it's a plus 10 because of two negatives. This is not correct neither. This is, not 100% correct. This is not a plus because of two negatives. This is a plus because it's a negative times a negative. You have to be very specific. All right. Yes, you're seeing two negatives, but what is happening is a negative times a
Wait,
negative.
sir,
Yes.
why is P minus 1?
Okay, why is P minus 1? Okay, very, very, very good question. Let me repeat that again. Look at it. I've done that before. I'm going to do it again. If you want to separate, so that's what I'm saying now, you'll get the question and the question, everything will be close together. But if you want to control the situation, you want to control the equation, and you want to separate things, this will be wrong. This will be a wrong way to separate. Because that minus belongs now, that minus sign there is describing a number. It is describing an invisible 1 that is there. It's that's not negative bracket, that's negative 1. So it's describing a 1 that is there. So if we have to separate, we have to, that's a p and a negative 1. That's a p and a negative 1. Okay, so it's not really p minus, it's a p. Look there, it's a p and a negative 1. It's a p and a negative 1 times a negative 10. That's what is going on. Okay, and a negative 1 times a negative 10 is a plus 10. That's a p and a plus 10. Okay, so practice, be able to separate. Okay, you see, we see when you have it close like that, you may not see, you see p minus and they have the same distance and you're not too sure what to do. Okay, that p there is by itself. So the one on the left, you can just separate it, and everything on the right, you can just shift it. So now you see it a little clearer. Even there you can do it without the minus 1. You can leave it like that. All right, that's a p and that's a plus coming right inside. Instead of blank space, when you see you separate and you have a blank space, you can safely put an and that and there now is a plus. Okay, so just, I think this should be reinforced in those stages. You see, so you have control over the situation and you have a minus, there's an invisible minus 1 times a minus 10. So that's a p and a plus 10. That's what is going on there. Okay,
So the
now
answer is negative 12.
the answer is negative 12. Someone said 8.
Yeah, that's what I got.
So now you can put your minus 10, isn't that so? Now you can put your minus 10 because
Yes, sir.
you have multiplied it. You have multiplied, so you can put your minus 10 now. You have multiplied, multiplication come. Oh, and by the way, now that's 2 points I wanted to write. Multiplication becomes a negative not just two negatives, a negative times a negative is a positive. And never forget, a negative and a negative is a negative. Okay, so please spend some time to go over these things. Okay, I know that's not the only course you're doing. Is negative. Okay, so please take note of that. Right, so this is why this is so. Okay, so basically now you can put your minus 10 on both sides, and then the 10 cancels out, so you are left with p is equal to negative. And why p is equal to negative 12? What up there? What up there? What in these 3 points that cause us to have a negative 12? We have 3 points there. You have bed mass, you have negative times a negative, you have negative and a negative is a negative. Which one of these we use to get our final answer? Anybody?
Negative and negative.
A negative and a negative is a negative. I know we have not been accustomed of saying it, so we have to get used to say it. A negative 2 and negative 10. I'm going to ask a question. That's negative 2. You see negative 2, you see a negative 10. How else can
Sir,
you say that?
good morning,
Anybody
sir.
read this out for me?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Taking out 10.
Just joining in with all my attention now. What we're doing
Yes,
with assignment 6?
yes, that's where we are.
Okay then.
We're on assignment 6 and we're just on number 4.
Okay.
And we're taking our time because there are a lot of different concepts that we need to clarify. So it's not rushing to finish the assignment. It's, discussing. Now I want to, let's say for example, let me carry that up there. Point number 3, point number 4, point number 4. This is symbols. How can we put this in words? Anybody? Read what we see in there.
So let me tell you. You're taking out 2 and you're taking out 10. So together you get negative 12.
All right. Take out 2. What else?
And you're taking out 10.
And that and there is so important, but it has been given so little attention. That's what I realized
Yeah, but
today.
and is not some like adding.
Right, exactly. You taking out 2 and you take out 10. All right. So that's one way of saying that. When you see this, you see negative 2 subtract 10. Say negative 2 subtract 10. You're not really getting a feel as to what is really happening. You understand? So another way of saying it now, you take out 2 and look at that now. You can even put look it there, look it there. I'm going to copy it. Say negative 2 subtract 10, you're not really giving you a feel as to what is happening. But saying take out 2 and look at the space. Yeah, that's what is happening there. You take out 2 and you take out 10. You see? So be able to do those little algebra workings to really
Yes,
understand.
but you said and represents plus. So what
Right.
happened there? So you put in a plus there then?
Well, yes, if you want, you can put a plus. But if you take out 2 and take out 10, obviously, what's the answer? You take out 12. So that simple calculation, you really need to put a plus. I'm just making you know how you can analyze and the whole expression. You understand? Okay. But for your calculation, you don't really have to put a plus. You can just put that in your calculator, negative 2 negative 2 subtract 10, and you're getting negative 12. As I say, you can just put that, do one waste time, put in plus and so forth, but we are analyzing it. Okay? So, really and truly, that is what is happening. So, that is a negative 12. Okay?
Question?
Yes.
Isn't assignment 6 the continuation of matrices? Huh?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay.
So, we are number 4. We've just completed an example like number 4. So, we're moving on to an example like number 5. Let's take a look at number 5. Now, if you look at number 5, is number 5 like number 4?
Yes.
It's even
It can be added.
it even simpler because the plus that's there is in that. So
Plus is there, so it can be added.
if we want, we can come back to it. But let's see if there is something new there that we might want to spend some time in. Let's look at number 6. Is it number 6 like number 4 and number 5?
Yes.
It can be
Yes, sir.
You
added,
form
yeah.
an equation and you solve it.
Yeah,
But
because they're common.
if we don't get any new thing, then we can come back and you can tell me which one to focus on. But I just want to see if there's any new thing in number 6. Okay, if there's any new thing in number 6 that all right. So now, and here's the examples. That's from the unit, but we created our own example for number.
So my concern is when you get the final answer, how do you, like you have it in the example, you have it in squares? Do you have to do that for the final answer,
Have it in
or just
squares? What do you mean?
or I mean, like you have it like when you square it up showing the working, or should you just put solution for x equals and solution for y equals?
No, first of all, you have to write your equation. This is about 3 marks.
Yeah,
So
because
you
what
get
I'm
1
saying is
mark
because
for your equation. Yes.
okay, I must form an equation from what
Right.
is there,
And then solve the equation. You have to show some
and
working.
then solve the equation.
1 mark for the solution, your working, and then 1 mark for your final answer. So that's about a 3 marks.
Okay. So example, I mean I wasn't in the earlier thing, so I just good for example. With number 4, I'm not going to use exactly what is there.
Yeah, well, we created an example already. We created an
Oh,
example,
you
so you
did
can
an
use what we
example.
have there. Yeah, look the example we created. Here it is. And we just completed it.
Okay. All right then.
So look, we solve
I
for
understand,
M.
because it's like a follow up from the latter chapter.
Right. It's a continuation for the last part of
Because
assignment 5.
it's a continuation.
Yeah, we discussed that earlier on. Here it is. Here's
Yeah.
it, exercise 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right.
Right.
And then you have 4, 5, and 6. Right. So you can just write your answer like what we have it here. And number 5, the last part of number 5 still remains a bonus. Okay. Yeah, so these are the points, these are the take notes we have there. Okay, so please take note of those 4 points. Bed mass a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, a negative and a negative is a negative. All right, so if you have a negative 2, you have negative 2 subtract 10. That's how you normally say it, negative 2 subtract 10. And then what is negative 2 subtract 10? What does that mean? So if you want to separate those two numbers, there are two numbers there, a negative 2 and a negative 10. Always carry this sign with the number on the right, because the sign now describing, the sign is like an adjective here. What kind of a 10? A negative 10. Okay, a negative 2. So that negative sign can also be a verb. You can tell you subtract, take out. So as a verb is it's telling you take out, but as an adjective is negative. Okay, so that sign there is serving both purposes. It's as a verb and it's as an adjective.